This is something that the entire world should get. This will be India's greatest offering. India has had a traditional system. This is the reason no matter what happens, you will see the country is not disturbed in a real sense as other nations would be disturbed. If you want a great nation, you must do something to produce great human beings. There is no other way. If you want to produce great human beings, we have to facilitate and structure methods and systems where human beings are not curtailed. Every human being can find full expression to who he or she is. This is a structural thing which needs to happen, which is beginning to happen, but India has had a traditional system that people don't necessarily depend upon except for external activity. For their own development, they don't depend on any particular outside system. This is the reason no matter what happens, you will see the country is not disturbed in a real sense as other nations would be disturbed because there is an organic sense of being completely organized within myself. This is something that the entire world should get. This will be India's greatest offering. How an individual human being can be fully organized within himself or herself in such a way that no matter what happens, they will stay their course. There are many ways to look at this. No nation which has been occupied by very strong forces for over 800 to 1,000 years has retained its culture or religion or music or clothing or anything, everything has changed. You just look at Europe, Arabia, North America, South America, Australia, Africa, everything has changed. This is one nation which has retained this because there never was a leader in this society. Everybody is self-organized by themselves. Is it not good enough if we have good roads, good bridges, good facilities? All these are important. But the most important thing is that if you sit here, you are complete by your own nature. This is the most important thing. Otherwise, you can sit in air-conditioned rooms and still boil inside of you.
Conflict is happening everywhere in the planet, in so many forms. Between two countries it is happening, between two communities it's happening, within the family it is happening, within you it's happening, yes? But it is only because there is conflict within you, there is a possibility of conflict outside of you, isn't it? Because there is violence within you. Violence is possible in the world. If there was no violence at all in you, would violence be possible in the world? No. So we just have to look at the conflict within. If we just settle this, outside conflict will slowly settle. It'll take some time because we have put a certain momentum to it, but it has to settle, isn't it? If all of us become truly peaceful human beings, no conflict within us, would Bombay be peaceful? Do we have to separately start a campaign for peaceful Bombay? No. If people were peaceful, society would be peaceful, isn't it? So what is the conflict? The conflict is just this, you got identified with things that you are not. You're identified with many things that you are not, isn't it? Right now, let's say this vessel belongs to you. You don't just hold it as a vessel. Let us say this vessel came to you from your great-great-great-grandfather. Now this is not just a vessel, yes? You're identified with it. If I just grab this vessel and go away, you're willing to die to get this vessel. Isn't it so? Because you're so identified with this vessel now. If I just break this vessel, your heart will break. Just see with how many things you have done this. From the clothes that you wear, to the people who live with you, the house that you live in, the things that you own and possess, everything has become you, isn't it? Yes? So what is you is not here, what is you is spread all over the place. When you are spread all over the place, naturally, wherever you move, it gets entangled somewhere. Yes? When what is you is so spread out, whichever way you go, every doorway you will get stuck. That's what is happening. That's why there's constant friction and conflict, because you're identified with so many things that you are not. When I say you're identified with things that you are not, it also includes your mind, it also includes your body. Your thoughts are not yours, please see. Your emotions are not yours, please see. These are all things that you picked up from outside and identified yourself with. Isn't it so? Yes? Your body is not yours, it is something that you picked up from outside. If you sit here and you're not identified with anything, you are simply yourself. You are not identifying yourself with anything, or you are not getting into your make-believe situation of being something that you are not. A man went to the psychiatrist. He went and said, "Doctor, all the time I think I'm wet paint. I'm afraid to touch anybody. I don't want anybody to touch me because I think I'm wet paint." Then the doctor said, "That's no problem, I will treat you." 6 months, the doctor gave him very expensive treatment. And slowly the patient felt better. And then he one day came and said, "Doctor, I'm just feeling fine. I don't feel like that anymore. Thank you very much." He paid his bill and he wanted to shake his hands. The doctor said, "I don't want to get wet paint on my hands." Once you're identified with things that you're not, you're hallucinatory in nature, isn't it? And all the conflict is coming simply because you're not in touch with reality. You're hallucinatory. Your thoughts, your emotions are all coming from certain identifications, isn't it so? If you can sit here, this Shambhavi will do to you. If you sit here, you will see your body is here, your mind seems to be somewhere out there and you are somewhere else. That means you've gotten disidentified with everything. You're just there. Once you're not identified with the body, once you're not identified with the mind, can there be conflict? If you've known any kind of suffering in your life, the suffering has either entered you through your body or through your mind, isn't it so? Do you know any other kind of suffering? Once there is a distance between you and your body, once there's a distance between you and your mind, this is the end of suffering. This being cannot suffer anymore. Question of conflict doesn't arise.